Hey YouTube, it's MIgardener, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to turn an existing yard into a beautiful, lush garden. Now the first things we're going to do is, as you notice, we have the old garden, which was already there from last year. It was very productive, it was awesome, but we're expanding it this year, and you can see all this really established grass. This was a field at one point, and so what we're doing here is we're just rough tilling, and rough tilling basically means just scraping the first inch to inch and a half of soil, and you're getting off all of the grass and all the grass roots, and it's going to clump it up, and you're going to get all these large clumps of grass, and you want to remove these if you want to not be constantly weeding and constantly having grass come up in between your plants for competition. Now that also means that you don't want to till 3-4 inches deep, because when you do that, you're going to simply just turn over the grass and then it's going to grow up again. Now this is not guaranteeing you won't have any grass throughout the season. Sorry, we're in some crazy wind, so sometimes we just have to wait for the wind to stop. But like I was saying, it's not going to guarantee grass not coming up, but it's going to prevent a lot of it from coming up, and the blades of the tiller, which is what we're using obviously for this type of garden, is going to just chop about, if you set it about 1.5 inches, it's going to just chop the roots off of the grass, and you're going to get just a bunch of clumps of grass, which we'll be able to remove and then till again. And then we'll show you the next step, which is adding sand. So that's definitely a crucial part to adding good draining soil. And then next step is adding organic material. So we'll show you all that. So just what we've been doing is we've been actually tilling over the ground. We pulled out the clumps of grass, and we've actually let it dry in the wind and the sun. And as you can see, this is much more clumpy here, but this is what we just tilled. We're just letting this dry out. We're tilling this, which is what we tilled first, and it's actually drying out really nicely. And then we're going to add sand, and then we're going to add some pine needles and some compost and stuff to add some nutrition and break up the clay even further, because right here isn't the best soil. It's pretty fertile, but it's just got a lot of clay. Alright, so down on the beach, and we have just a little sand dune here. This is typically where we pull our sand from, because the sand doesn't have many stones in it. Unlike the beach below us, actually, it has some of the bigger stones that have washed down with rain and stuff. But these little mini sand dunes are great because you can get all the sand. Oopsie, and the gloves there. You can get all the sand you'll ever want for your garden, and the wind will just keep piling it up over time. And it's usually all sand. There's typically no stones, and if they are, they're pretty small. So this is very crucial for the garden because it's a fine sand, and it's going to help break up those clay clumps and add really good drainage to your soil. Alright, so we got the garden all tilled up, we got the clay clumps thrown out, we got the grass clumps thrown out, and we got the sand thrown on. Now the next component is some nutrients and some good stuff that's going to break down pretty quick. And so what we have here is we're underneath this very, very, very large pine tree. And there's several of them on this property, but we're just basically raking up all these pine needles, and the pine needles are going to break down really quick because they're pretty smooth. They're smooth, and they got a lot of surface area, so they're going to break down pretty quick. And we're just going to rake all these up, and then we're going to throw them on the garden. And what it's going to do is it's going to actually raise the acidity level, or lower the pH, or raise the acidity, and it's going to help out crops that really like acidic soil, such as tomatoes and potatoes, peppers, stuff like that. And then it'll also add a good nitrogen source into the soil as well. So I'll get this all raked up, and then we will start adding it to the garden. Alright, so actually, as we were raking, I decided I'd show you guys really quick one of the benefits of this stuff. It breaks down over probably about a year, and it'll break down into this beautiful, rich, organic matter. As you can see, this stuff's already really broken down. It's turning nice and black, and sometimes you can even find some hyphae, some spores that have grown and taken over they've colonized the pine needles and breaking them down. We just have a back end loader. It's all full of pine needles. Got them all packed down. I did think I'd show you guys really quick. If you come over here, you'll see that we have left a lot of the pine needles around here. A lot of the already composted pine needles that are down here that have broken down, we've left them for the tree to feed on, so it's not going to harm the tree whatsoever. And there's constantly pine needles always dropping, so you actually will always have a nutrient source going to the tree. We're not cutting off any nutrients by taking these pine needles. We're just taking what we need, because the tree actually drops way more than it needs, and a tree of this size is already pretty self-sustaining on its own, and it's not really growing much, so it doesn't really require a whole lot of nutrients to grow. It just needs what it just needs to take in what it needs to survive. So we're gonna head up to the house, throw this on the garden, till it up one more time, and we should be ready to plant. And by the time you're done, you should have a garden that looks a lot like this. Maybe not this big, but this is just the size that I choose because it's the best for me. And as you guys can see, now you have the existing lawn and you have an established garden. What more can you ask for? So I hope you liked this video. I had a lot of fun filming it, and I really hope that you guys are inspired to go out and put an in-ground garden in. Follow these tips. I've had a lot of great success with them, and I hope to have a lot of great success in the future. So if you guys like these videos, I really hope you do. I just gotta keep them coming, because right now we're in the heat of the season, so I'm gonna keep on uploading. Hopefully you guys keep enjoying them, and hopefully you guys are also growing big or going home. And this is MIgardener. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya. Bye.